So, how's it feel, kind of having that belt, doing this media event? It kind of feels like you're on that course to taking that next step,
Yeah, I mean, it's all new. It feels the same after you win a fight. It's super. It feels amazing. Having this belt with me, it feels even better. And then, but this is all new. My phone exploding to where I had like 1,000 notifications. Even going back to work, people, in my town saying, "Hey, great fight." A lot more. It's just a lot more than usual.
Do you have a kind of an idea, like a path mapped out? Usually, guys are in LFA, they win a title, they have a couple big wins. They're on notice, whether or not you're going to get that contract. You're kind of on notice. You're ready to take that short notice call if it arises as well from the UFC or wherever.
Yeah, we're ready for a short notice call. We're ready, full camp. Contender series, anything Zuffa, we're ready. If it, or I guess ain't Zuffa no more, but anything, we're ready. If they call us up, we're ready. We could do short notice. We'll take what they give us.
Yeah, just walk me through that fight. I mean, obviously, pretty dominant performance from you. Run me through just the ending too. You saw that you barely had any time left. Just talk about the whole performance.
It came out and his striking is kind of. It's almost opposite of the way I do it. I'm a little more traditional, so he was giving me a little problems at first, and he's really fast. So it just took me a second. Once I got his timing and his speed down, we started to get that distance right. We started to land some leg kicks, and that really started to back him up. And from our scouting report, we wanted to back him up. Once he started going backwards, I really started to be able to attack that front leg. We started going to the body, a couple body shots, some snap kicks. Me and my coaches who went over the game plan. And really, once we kind of got the wrinkles out, we started working the body, snap kicks, staying at range, long kicks, and then I feel like he kind of got into my territory where we started boxing. Once we started boxing, I was able to slip his right, and I landed my own. And that's the thing about when you're boxing, more traditionally, you got a lot of weight in your punches. So I felt like mine counted a little more, and that one really hurt him. He went right to his shell. We started, I started trying to pick my shots, and he's the one who initiates the clinch. And then once the clinch started, I could just feel like it's like if you ever took a friend out and you're the DD and you got to carry someone home, that's what he felt like hanging on me. And I was like, okay, he's ready to go. So I just took him down. And once we hit the ground, I had Nick and Eric in my corner, 30 seconds. So I knew I had to get going. And then once we heard that 10-second clacker, I knew I could spin my whole load because I'm about to get a minute break anyways. I really wanted to finish. I was throwing those right hands, he was covering up, but just the tip of his chin was hanging out. And that last one, I put it right on his chin, and the ref called it.
That's awesome, man. Just take us back to that emotion you felt. The first championship victory like this, and a big, just the emotion.
Well, it's hard to say, like, after any fight, you get a finish. I feel like it's all the same. It's like I just explode with emotion for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then you come back down, and you gather yourself, get a little composure. And you don't want to act like a jerk and try and, have some sportsmanship. But at any time you finish someone, especially by like knockout, TKO, right after that last punch lands and the ref jumps in there, it's just like an explosion of emotion, and like all your work came to fruition. And then, I like to try and get myself under control and not run around too much.
Can you talk a little bit about this journey from the first time we saw you here in Albuquerque submitting, I believe, John Rosema at King of the Cage, all the way to the point where you've evolved to an LFA champion?
Well, it all started. My first fight was in Clovis, New Mexico. So I've been doing all my work in New Mexico. So even before Rosema, we had 3 or 4 years of an amateur career, 10 fights there. And then to fight Rosema in Albuquerque, and coming up to Albuquerque, I got a lot of fans here now, but when I first started, I wasn't from here, so I was the underdog here, and it just means a lot. New Mexico is awesome, and Albuquerque's awesome, and everyone support me. So I don't know, it's just been a grind, and it's one day at a time, and just making it to every practice, making it, putting in your work.
I know that when we talked in the lead up, you were looking at this as just another fight because there's still bigger goals ahead, but how did it hit you when the belt actually got wrapped around your waist, when you actually heard "and new champion"?
It felt amazing. Like I was telling Nick and Eric, like, I can't believe it. It's been a long grind, and I've been looking at this belt. I've been looking at the UFC. We've been, you know, thinking about it and like trying to get our break. And I feel like it's happening. And you know, it's just crazy. We've been grinding so long, and you know, to have this belt on my shoulder right now, it means a lot to me.
One of the things that people may not be familiar with is kind of the emergence of this Jackson Acoma gym, and you know, people around the country are like, oh, he's probably Jackson Wink, but kind of describe why, you know, you went with this team and how you got here.
Well, so first of all, I've beat like a lot of the Jackson Wink fighters, like all their lightweights. That's how I made my come up. Like we're talking about Albuquerque, and I'm from New Mexico, so I'm coming out here and I'm fighting all those guys. And then, you know, Ricky's my manager. He invited me out here, and the environment, the atmosphere is just, it's different here. The egos, you know, they say leave your ego at the door. That's like exemplified here. There's guys in the UFC, like just before here, I was just talking to Landon Venata, and you know, he's just congratulated me, making me feel like I'm the champ, you know. So it's just a different attitude here. There's no big egos. Everyone's trying to learn from each other, and you know, it's a sharing environment. And if someone has something they could teach you, they'll teach you. And if you have something to tell someone and you feel like you can help them, you know, they take it and they'll accept it, you know. And it's just the environment here is so awesome.
So I didn't do the research, but is it safe to say that you're the first lightweight champion and the sheriff deputy out here in New Mexico?
I think from my office, I don't know about the whole state, but if I was a betting man, I'd probably go with that.
Yeah.
Are you gonna, as your career progresses and maybe you go up another promotion, is the plan to continue to work as a deputy, even if, you know, say you get a UFC contract?
It is. I enjoy law enforcement. There's something about helping people, from, you know, small little things they need help with, or, you know, even big you know, big incidences. You're running in there, you know, not knowing what to expect. And I enjoy that. You know, I enjoy fighting. I enjoy that. And it's something even from a young age, I wanted to be in law enforcement. So I just, it'd be hard for me to walk away from, even if I was, you know, making multi-million dollars. I don't know if I could walk away from it. And as long as I can do them both, I'm going to do them both. But I do know that law enforcement will be there. If I got some kind of opportunity I couldn't turn down, you know, I could take that, and then in 10 years I could go back to being a sheriff's deputy. So, you know, I'm realistic about it, but I really enjoy my career in law enforcement.
So you're saying before that, obviously, you know, you have higher goals and expectations, but just after you got that belt wrapped around you, did you get a different kind of hunger, man? Did it bring something else out of you?
I've always been hungry, and I've always wanted, you know, like, the belt is the belt. It's a feather in the cap. It's an accolade. It's going to be hanging in my gym forever. And, you know, but I've always wanted more. And this is just one step in the, you know, the future and the goal that we're trying to make it to the big show. We're trying to have the biggest fights. And so I've always been hungry, and I've always wanted, you know, big things.
I think you talk a little bit about taking that belt back to Force of One and what it means to you and Eric that started the MMA program there at that gym.
That's something special between me and Coach. There's a relationship that we have that I've had other fighters reach out to me saying, oh, you guys the way you two are together, because you know, we started from the very start, just an empty slate. We started together, and we've built everything together. And he was my very first coach, my very first fight, and we've learned this game together. We've met the people together. We've traveled together, and you know, I couldn't do it without him. So it really means as a lot to me. And as much as, you know, me winning this belt, as much credit goes to him as, you know, helping me from the beginning. Like, I think it's something special when I'm just nobody, 0 amateur fights, and he's treating me, you know, like some kind of superstar, booking all my hotels, taking care of everything, you know, helping me cut weight. You know, we've fought 23 times together, and he's been there every single step of the way. So, you know, just so much credit to him.
For those that don't know, you know, and you're going to be making your introduction to like a bigger audience now, like how does a guy from Melrose get turned on to MMA?
Well, like, I like to compete. So, like, I've done team sports my whole life. And then I joined the military, and, you know, military guys were always wrestling, messing around. And one of the guys is actually a fighter, and I was training with him, and he just, nothing formal, he says, hey, you got to come to the gym with me. You got some talent. and just one day turned into 10 years. If you know, like I came, I liked it, and I just stuck with it. I've been going, you know, every day for 10 years and training, and it's just hard work and consistency that really got me from there to here.
What's the reaction like back home?
Oh, back home it's great, man, and it's different. You know, a small town, people know me, people have my cell phone, and you know, if they don't know me, their friends know me or something. So it's different in a small town. Like I said, if I go into Albertsons, there's old ladies saying, "Hey, you know, good fight," and you're like, "Bro, you watched this fight?" Or you know, just people you wouldn't expect, and they're like, "Well, you know, I saw it on Facebook," and I have a, you know, like a special Facebook because it's not even with my real name for people, and it just spreads like that. And in that small town, I don't know, man. It's just awesome.
Would you say Melrose is more traditionally, is it a football town, a basketball town? What's kind of their identity usually?
Yeah, it's football. It's right there on Texas. Melrose and Clovis, they're football towns, and you know, they just love their high school sports, and that's like any small town. So,
Did you ever win a state title?
we were runner-up. So, thanks for bringing that up.
With your local notoriety, ever have any weird interactions on the job where you're apprehending somebody and then get recognized?
Yeah, I got a fight coming up with some guy I arrested on his birthday. He scheduled it for us, so I wrote it down. I'm gonna send him a message. I'm gonna find him and say, "Hey, he's pretty drunk, but I'm gonna make sure he knows about it."
So what's next, man?
Next, you know, we're trying to get in with the UFC. We're trying to get on either a contender series, short notice fight, or a full camp, and you know, that's the goal. And once we get there, we just, you know, what's next is we're gonna keep winning and just keep winning.
So stay training in the gym.
Stay training and keep winning. Yeah.
What do you do with the belt besides the media tour?
I just give it to coach. He hangs it in the gym. You know, he has some traditional martial arts classes, like anywhere from 6 to you know, 18-year-old kids. So there's a lot of little kids like to come take pictures with it. We just, like, we won belts, but never nothing this big or heavy or nice. So we'll just put it out there on the reception desk for maybe a month, and whoever wants to take a picture with it, or you know, whatever. And then we have a shelf with all the belts we've won, and we'll just put that one up there on the top, and it'll stay there until we win a bigger one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I mean, from when you started, man, do you ever think you'd be at this point?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did. Like, I thought I'm, you know, gonna be world champ, and I think everyone does. If you start, like, and you're gonna stick with it for 10 years, you're gonna have some high aspirations. Like, maybe, you know, some guys might not. They just want to get a couple pictures, put it on their Facebook. But the real fighters that have been grinding away, they all think they're gonna be champ. And I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from them.
And how's that fire grow as you've had success?
It's always been there. I'm always hungry, the fire to train. Everything's always been there. I don't know, the success, you know, it's kind of like, it just affirms it. Like, you know, you're right, man. Just keep going. You're getting there, and you know, it's just like something tangible to latch onto that it's working. You're having some success.
Good.
Thanks,
Thanks a
Russ.
lot, man.